Hello everyone, Cindy here with Monarch Mom DIY, where I like to bring you the best tips and tools for creating beautiful home decor on a budget. Today I am back with 3 new high-end Dollar Tree Farmhouse decor DIYs that I am very excited to share with you. If you enjoy budget home decor DIYs, I hope you'll consider sticking around by hitting that subscribe button and hitting the bell for all notifications. Here we go. Project number 1 uses tumbling tower blocks, 2 pieces of paint sticks, some chalk paint, some greenery, and a hoop and some letters, either stickers or these wood letters from Dollar Tree. Now, to make the frame for my grid here, I'm taking pairs of blocks, gluing them together, and you can see the line where they're glued together is facing up. So I am making 33 pairs, and I'm going to use 8 pairs on the left, 8 at the top, 8 at the bottom, and 9 on the side. You'll see when you can see the full picture here, but just gluing those pairs together, and then once those are dry, we will glue the pairs end to end to make the frame. So here I'm now doing the left-hand side of my decor piece here. And you can see I'm lining them up on this ruler to make sure they will be as straight as possible. So again, on the left side of my sign, I have 8 of these pairs end to end, and we're letting those dry. I'll do 8 pairs again at the top, 8 at the bottom, and 9 on the right. Next, I am making 5, I'll just call them sticks, that are 8 blocks long. Here I'm just gluing single blocks together end to end, again using my little level ruler here to make sure they are nice and straight. So you will do this 5 times for a total of, you're using 40 blocks, 5 sticks of 8. All right, so nothing's glued together except for the frame here and the vertical sticks of 8. And then all those little individual blocks that are going horizontal, we will be painting individually. But here are my 4 pieces that I used to make the frame, and I decided I wanted to use antique wax for that. So you know the drill, wipe it on, wipe it off, and then let it dry before you do all the rest of the sides. Now the vertical lines I made and the 42 individual blocks, I'm going to paint those with my white chalk paint. So this project in total, I used 148 of the tumbling tower blocks. So that is 2 complete tall boxes and like 6 more or something like that. Here's everything stained and painted on all the sides. Now that we're ready to put everything together, I'm starting with my bottom left corner. So going up is 8 pairs. And on the bottom there is also 8 pairs. And then, like I said, 8 at the top and 9 on the right side. What I did first with the individual blocks is I'm putting some glue and centering it on the line between each pair of blocks. I hope that makes sense. I think you can see here what I'm doing. And then I glued one of my long sticks to it. So this did take some time because I wanted to make sure each layer dried before I then went on to this second set. Those are 7 individual blocks and then another stick of 8, 7 more individual blocks and a stick of 8. I just kept doing this until I got to this last row of 7 individual blocks. And I will say I did have to trim these last blocks just a little bit because we're using tumbling tower blocks and not everything is perfect. But even though it took some time, I was super happy that I made this for literally $3. Okay, so 3 boxes of tumbling tower blocks. So here's what it all looks like as it was drying. Now, the rest of this project, I wanted to, for Easter, make a little cross out of these 2 pieces of paint stick. And I wanted to use letters to say amazing going down vertically, and then grace on the horizontal piece. So like I said, you could use sticker letters, you could write the letters, you could use the wooden letters from Dollar Tree, whatever you have on hand. You'll see that they're sharing that second A in the word amazing to also be the A in grace. Now you don't have a C, no big deal. Take an O, cut the little piece out, and there you go. We're always making do with what we have as we DIY. I am going to put some matte finish Mod Podge over that, and then once that's dry, just glue the two pieces of my cross together. Now my inspiration for this decor piece, I believe, was a Kirkland decor that I saw, and it had like a cotton wreath in the middle, but I wanted to make something with some greenery that I had. I'm using the inside loop here from an embroidery hoop, and I'm going to glue these individual pieces of greenery around my hoop, kind of alternating, pointing in, pointing out. I really love how this turned out. I just made sure I went slowly and held each piece until it was completely dried. Here's the first few pieces on there, and then here's my entire wreath. I think it's so pretty. Here I just kind of laid them on top of the wood decor piece to see how I wanted to center them. And then taking some of my jute twine from Dollar Tree, I'm going to loop it around the frame and the tumbling tower blocks that are right there by the top of the wreath. And we're just going to hang the wreath there from the center of the sign. I am not attaching the cross. I want to be able to have it in there for Easter and take it out. You could leave it up all year, but here it is with just the tumbling tower blocks and the wreath, and then here with the paint stick cross inside. I love, love, love finding inspiration from other high dollar decor stores and looking at something and saying, I can make that for way less with items from Dollar Tree. So this is one I've wanted to make for a while. I really hope you guys love it. My second project, I'm making a two-sided project. I'm using 2 packs of these 6 rectangular wood slats, different springy colors of chalk paint, a few tumbling tower blocks, and some paint sticks and paint markers. So you sometimes can find these at Dollar Tree. These particular ones are from Walmart's craft section. I believe they're about $2.97 for a pack of 6. Now, one of my sets of 6, I am going to use the antique wax. And again, brush it on, wipe it off, let it dry. Pretty easy. I'm using these 6 for one side of my two-sided project. For the other side, I wanted to make them very fun, springy, kind of rainbow colors. So to get a nice light pink, I'm taking my white chalk paint and my red, just mixing a little in there and brushing that on the front and all the edges of one of my rectangles. And the second one I'm doing in lavender. I can only find this color in one of these smaller bottles at Walmart. I think they're like $1.67, but it was really pretty, and I thought this was great for spring or Easter time. Our third slat, we're going to use Maize, which is the nice, sunny, cheerful yellow chalk paint. Again, making sure we get the edges and the front. And I only did one coat. These chalk paints are awesome. They cover pretty well with one coat. My next one I'm going to do is the light blue color called Pool. And then I'm going to use this light green. I decided not to use the moss. I thought it was a little too dark for what I wanted. I believe this one is called Lime. Again, this one is only available in the small bottles at some Walmarts that carry the different sizes. And then for my last one, I decided to add a little bit more red to my pink to make a deeper pink. And that's the color I will use for the 6th wood slat. While the colored slats are drying, I'm coming back now with 2 paint stick pieces and gluing them to the back of my antique waxed rectangles just to hold them together. You can see I have the smallest little space between the rectangles just to give it kind of a palette wood look. Now I'm taking 5 tumbling tower blocks. I'm making a small little cross here for one side of my project and just painting this white. Now that my colored slats are dry, we will lay these out and glue them exactly on the other side of our stained ones. So on this side of the project, I wanted to make something that's just more general spring that I can keep up all through the season. And then the other side will be more of an Easter theme. I love making two-sided projects or things that are multi-seasonal. Now, I am comfortable just writing freehand with these paint markers. If you want to use stencils, or if you have a Cricut, some sort of vinyl machine, feel free to use whatever you have. You could even buy the wood letters from Walmart. I'm just going to write spring, and I did have to go over it a few times with my marker to get it to be nice and bright white. Now I'm going to flip back over to my stained side, and I want this side to say he is risen. I am going to have that cross, but I actually end up moving the cross to the right-hand side. Again, I'm using more of a cursive and kind of a teal blue paint marker this time, and writing first the word risen. So this is what I do. I just write the word one time, and then I go back and I kind of make it thicker and just kind of fill it in. But again, you can use vinyl if you want, or stencils, or even wood letters that you can buy and paint and glue on. Once the blue was dry, I decided to go back with my white and just highlight the left edge of my letters just to make them stand out a little bit more from the dark wood background. And I think it tied in the color of the cross, which I just attached here with a little bit of hot glue. And you could add more to this if you want, but I really liked the simplicity of it. At the top here, I'm just going to add the word happy, so that this side of my sign says happy spring. You could say hello spring, you could say happy Easter, whatever you want. I just love the duality of this project. Then I'm just going to take some jute twine and I'm going to tie a little hanger so that it can hang in the middle there and be flipped over to either of the sides of the sign. And here's how the first side turned out. You could add flowers to this if you wanted, Easter bunnies, birds. I just personally like the simplicity of the colors and the white wording. And then here is the other side for Easter time that says he is risen with the simple white cross. Let me know what you guys think of this or what you would have done on the two sides. For my third project, I'm using 3 of these canvases from a thrift store, 3 of these metal flowers from Dollar Tree, 12 bamboo skewers, and some different chalk paint. So I don't know if you guys ever see these at thrift stores, but these canvases were pretty dirty, and I also don't have any little ones. But you can either repaint over these canvases or take the canvas off and you have a beautiful wood frame underneath. So that's what I decided to do to repurpose these frames, is to go ahead and take off the canvas and the strings and then reuse these gorgeous square wood frames. Go ahead and sand the edges a little bit, and then you could even leave them this color if you like that natural wood. I decided I wanted to darken the color of the wood stain, so that's what I am doing with my antique wax. You've seen me do this probably a million times now, but I'm always really in love with the after effect of using this on some wood. I hope you guys will follow me over on Facebook and Instagram. I'm really trying to get better about posting things there. Also, make sure you are subscribed to my channel if you want to be notified whenever I upload new videos, at least once a week. Make sure you hit that bell and the all for all notifications. Now, I am measuring corner to corner here because I'm going to cut some bamboo skewers to glue across the square space. So corner to corner was 9 3/4 inches. Each of our edges here is 7, so I put a dot at the middle, which is 3.5 inches. And then to go from one dot diagonally to the other dot was 5. So again, all of this is in the description box if you didn't catch that. But for my 3 frames, I'm going to need 6 bamboo skewers that measure 9 3/4 inches because I need 2 for each of my frames. So I'm just using my little mini saw and miter box here to measure those, and if you need to sand an edge a little bit to get it to fit better, you can do that. And then I need 12 pieces that are 5 inches. So I'm gonna mark there at 10 inches and cut that off, and then cut it again at 5. So each of my frames will need 4 of these 5-inch pieces. Now that I have my 6 long pieces and my 12 smaller pieces, I'm just going to paint them with my black chalk paint, just using a sponge brush. And while those are drying, we're going to take our 3 metal flowers and cut them off of the stem with these big metal chompers and kind of bending it back until it breaks off. So do that for all 3 of your flowers. Now, you could leave these the color they are, or what I'm going to do is to make them a little more farmhouse. I'm bending up all the different layers of petals because I want to paint them white. So here you can see I'm using my white chalk paint, and I'm really getting in there to completely cover that bottom layer of petals. And I'll do this to all 3 of my flowers. Once that 3rd layer of petals is dry, now I'm going to paint the 2nd layer of petals all the way around, let that dry, and then we'll paint those little smallest petals that are in the center of our flower. Now we're coming back to our frame, and like I said before, we're going to take 2 long pieces of skewers, put a little bit of hot glue on each end, and this first diagonal piece I'm putting about halfway down the depth of the frame. And then the other one going the opposite way will be right there, kind of at that back edge of the frame. You could even put a little dot of hot glue where they cross each other, just for a little extra added security. Now remember our 4 small pieces, we're marking the center of each side, and then we're going to glue these smaller pieces going diagonal across each corner. So from that black dot I made to the other black dot, we're going to glue a 5-inch piece, and we're going to do that all 4 times until we have kind of a square or a diamond inside our square. And I think this looks pretty awesome. You can make some interesting designs with just bamboo skewers. So you could keep it like this if you wanted, or put whatever you want in the center of your picture. But let's get back to our flowers so we can finish them up and add them to our frames. Again, bending up the different layers. Now I'm just going to dry brush some antique wax just to make these look a little more old and rusty. And I'm not wiping anything, I'm just with a chip brush brushing on to distress our flowers. And here's all 3 of our distressed flowers. And now we're going to flip our frame over on top of our flower. And I'm just putting a little bit of hot glue wherever maybe one of those bottom petals touches a bamboo skewer to attach it to the frame. And then on the back, I have the cross piece kind of going against the piece of stem that was left on the back of the flower. Just add some hot glue there, let it dry for a minute, and then when you flip it over, you will have this beautiful framed metal flower in this gorgeous modern farmhouse style. So here are all 3 of my take of the metal flower with a frame, and I cannot wait to hang these. You could even give these as gifts. I'm going to either hang these horizontally or vertically, and I just think they're awesome. What colors would you guys do with these metal flowers? Thanks again so much for joining me. Again, please let me know in the comments which of these 3 projects was your favorite. I can't wait to hear all your comments and see which ones you guys liked the best. Thanks again, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.